introduce our next speaker, Susan Thornhill. And I got to know Susan through my division chief. Oh. Thanks, everyone. So I got to be connected to Susan through my division chief, Nancy Morgan, who is the leading expert in GIA work, qualitative research. And she presented at this international conference in Australia. And everybody said great things about online discussion boards that happens in Italy, Australia, and America. And I was very inspired. I said, we got to do that for our CRMO families. So, and finally we got connected to Susan, and we wrote a grant with Melissa Oliver, and it wasn't funded, so it took another 2 years. And then we got the funding and did it in July. And thanks to Susan's all the dedicated efforts, and she stayed up because of the time zone difference all night for 3 nights in a row for 2 sessions. And she moderated and got all the words and out of these participants, and she was really touched and moved. And she wanted to help them more of the community and didn't know where. And I said, well, we have a family conference coming up. How about you coming here and then you can help us? So she gladly agreed. And so here comes Susan. Please welcome Susan.
Great. Thank you very much, Dan. I'm very, very pleased to be here. As Dan mentioned, I did some work with juvenile arthritis with Dr. Essie, actually, and we did studies in the US, Italy, and then Australia. And then Dan came to me and said, we would like to do this for CRMO. And so I needed to get up to speed on CRMO because, as you know, it's a very rare disease. And so we ended up doing the work again in Australia. And afterwards, the purpose of the research was really more to understand when the disease is active or inactive, which was a great goal. But to me, the outpouring of all of the families with all of their anguish and sharing, it just wasn't enough for them. So Dan said, you know, would you like to come up to Seattle and be part of the family conference? And this is the first time that I'm actually meeting you because most of my work was done online. So I'm thrilled to be here. I have a wonderful colleague, a professional moderator, good friend, Nancy Hardwick, who lives in Seattle. So I called her and I said, hey, let's do this. So we got involved in helping design the conference for today with more of a focus on listening to all of you. And so I'm going to share a little bit about what we did before and what the plan is for the day. And we have a wonderful group of people that are virtual. I'm waving at a camera here because we have many people that are offline that are participating as well, which is very exciting. We have almost 50 families total with about 100 people involved today. So very exciting. So I just wanted to kind of quickly go through the agenda. I'll talk about it a little bit more at the end, but we have the opening remarks, and then we're going to have 2 breakout sessions virtually, and then they're going to be wrapped up. And here we are going to have 3 breakout sessions. We're going to have lunch. We're going to do a group photo. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we go. But really, the reason we're here at this family conference is to learn about updates. We can check that off the list. Thank you, Dr. Dan. And we really want to connect the families because what I heard in the research is the doctors were very surprised at the level of anguish and difficulty and what really poured out of the voices of all the participants. And they said, this shouldn't be. There should be more hope. And I thought, well, then we need to give them more hope. So this is one of the things about, first of all, educating the doctors that this disease even exists, and then helping them figure out the depth of pain and what you're going through. And so this is where your voice is really, really critical. And from the work that I did at the end, the final day of the 3-day online discussion board, I asked, did anything surprise you? Was there anything that you wish I would have asked? And many people said, what surprised me was I didn't know that there were other people going through what I was going through or that understood me. So the value of that, I thought, this isn't just about when is this disease active or inactive. This is about really getting to understand what you're going through as a family. And the physicians didn't have that awareness because they just can't. When they're in a meeting with you for 20 minutes or 15 or 30 minutes, they can't get to the depth. So we in our business use what this thing's called projective techniques, and it goes in line with the metaphors that Dan was talking about this morning. So I'm going to share a little bit about that. So today we want to connect the families, share your journey, and we're specifically going to ask you to share, how do you cope? So we can maybe put that in a newsletter article so we can share with other families. So we want to share that learning. Also, one of the great things, because you're in person, is that we're going to try to capture some video. We've got a videographer that will be, the moderators will be watching in the sessions, and those people that are pretty articulate and have something important to say, we may ask you during lunch or the third session after lunch to be videoed so that we can get some content and make some videos to educate the doctors and educate others. So that's another important reason why you're here. So you may be asked about that. I just want you to use this little tool here. We want you to make friends today, people that you don't know. We want you to write down their phone numbers. So tomorrow you can call people if you need support, because you have support from your physicians, but you all can be supporting each other. Especially in breakout number 2, we're going to share tips and ideas. So I want you to take notes of those great ideas so you can take this home and hopefully start implementing some tomorrow. And those of you online, please take notes when you're in your sessions as well. And you can turn this into a personal journal, or Dr. Dan can sign it for you at lunch. Okay, so the other thing we're going to do at the end of the day today, watch for your email. We're going to be sending out a survey because we want you to tell us, what did we do well? What could be improved? What are new ideas for these family conferences? And one of the reasons Nancy and I got involved is because we wanted to develop a family conference template that anybody could use. So we're putting our expertise into this document so other organizations, families, whatever, can take this conference and go roll it out for other diseases or whatever. So that's the idea. So we really want your input. How could we do it better? Because we're refining this template. So please use this today and keep it with you, and hopefully this will inspire you. So along again with Dr. Dan's metaphors, some of the things that we do that we find fascinating are using these projective techniques. And so we're not going to do this one today, but I don't know how many of you were familiar that we asked people to do an Our Family Journal. And so we had about 9 or 10 families do that. So I'm going to show you some of the findings from that. These are your people that did this online beforehand. So in our research, we say select an image that represents living life with CRMO. It could be anything. These are random images. And so this is what came out of this. And this is where we want your open and honest sharing. CRMO is a long journey. It can be dark having CRMO, and this may resonate with you. This person said, it's like I have a son with an engine that works well. He has all the determination and athleticism that any teenager could have, yet he's limited by chromo. He's stuck behind this gate and can't run free. Look at the story that this person just told us. The journey hasn't been the easiest, but we feel like our medical team has kept us on track all along the way. We aren't stumbling off the train and getting lost. So by giving images, people tell you way more than if you just say, how do you feel today? So this is something that is just an amazing tool that we found. So another one which you are going to do today. So this is the handout on the tables. Those of you online, your moderator will be showing you these colors. So this is a question you're going to be asked. Select a color that represents your emotions or feelings about living life with chromo. And this could be anything. So here's what some other people had to say. I choose yellow because it's like a yellow yield light or sign. While my child's chromo is controlled right now, I don't feel like I can just go on without worries. I'm seeing some head nodding here. Dark red, another person said. This color seems ominous and represents pain. Navy blue. Navy is noticeable. It's a color that's dominant and dark. Chromo involves your whole body. Even without knowing, it can become part of your identity. You cannot hide it. So this is the openness and sharing, and this is what we ask you to share today, whatever you're comfortable with, but it just gives such a deeper knowledge of what's going on in your lives. So the breakout sessions, I just want to share a little bit about that. We have moderators, we have these beautiful people from Children's who this is not their day job. So we had training and orientation for moderating. So please be gentle with them. And we have actually 13 professional moderators that are my colleagues. When we put it out to our friends in our professional organization, told them what this was all about, their hearts just opened and they said, we want to participate. So online, all of you will have professional moderators to help you share your stories. So let's give all the moderators a round of applause while we can. So thank you, and thank you all of you online. Okay, so just real quickly, I'm going to share the rules because this will make it a little bit easier on them. This is to have an open and safe space to share. You can see what people shared. They're speaking from the heart, the good, the bad, the ugly. We want to hear it. We want you to be open and honest. We need to make sure everyone gets a chance to share. And believe it or not, some people like to talk more than other people. So if we're hearing a lot from one person, just know we might have to have you shorten the story and let everybody around your table or in your breakout be able to share. We need to have one conversation at a time. And I know I'm going to torture you guys because once you start talking, you just want to keep talking. And the purpose of our discussion today is really to just get those frustrations and emotion and issues out there, and just to know that other people have those. And in person, I'm going to ask you just go ahead and meet at lunch so you can have deeper conversations. That's where those can take place. That's why we want to put the contact information. Call that new friend tomorrow and have those deeper conversations. And online, we're going to have on the survey an opportunity for you to say if you would like to connect with the people that were in your group. So we really want this to be about connecting people going out of it. So I'm just going to say, if there's more than one person talking, the moderator may put up her finger and just say one person at a time, and then you know you need to quell the other conversation. And if you're telling more of the story, unfortunately, we love to hear the entire long version, but if she goes like this, we need to just shorten the story up so we can keep the time going, because we've got a lot to cover, and she's the timekeeper also. And we do have a gentleman, so I'm sorry, they are the timekeepers. So again, just please excuse them if they need to move things along. So the whole idea is to let everybody know what you're going through so you don't feel alone, and make connections that you can talk in depth with these people after. And the other thing is that we want to get some of this on video. So when I put this presentation together, I had selected some images. You may recall this one was one of the first ones. And when I then looked closer at the images that I just happened to put in those slides, I thought this was really representative, that you're all on the same road, but there can be brighter days ahead looking at the sunshine. And your healthcare team, for me, is represented by the trees. They wish to provide you with support and shelter in the storm. So they're kind of embracing you on your path. And then this other picture that I just happened to pick out, and what I heard online with the juvenile arthritis and the chromo people, they said, sometimes I just feel like I'm on the edge of a cliff. And so you might feel you're on the edge of a precipice, but if we join together and we look for the sunshine, our hope is that you will leave here today with new friends and a renewed spirit and a new sense of hope.